Let's shift over to questions.
Okay.
What you got on your list?
Well, the first piece that we talked about together with the 3 examples for solving the equation, and which was a correct way to start, didn't go quite as I anticipated. It took a bit longer and was a little bit harder for kids to access than I had expected.
What's your question about it?
I think I have a question in how I structured it, of how did I kind of give them access to parsing through what those different things were, and was this the right way to start to move them into it and build their confidence? I had moments where I wasn't sure what question to ask to help them keep thinking, and I felt like I needed to insert more information. And I'm not sure if there was another way around that, and I just wasn't finding the questions in the moment, or different ways to look at it. And I had a question of, is there another representation here that, if they were able to look at it in a different way, where these 3 are still fairly symbolic, if that would have been a different way to help them start accessing it.
So, the who's right, the first one that the conversation didn't go the way you had expected, you said. Mm-hmm. You're wondering about whether that's the right start. What information did they need? What information might you have provided as well? Are there other representations besides these 3 that would have completed the picture for them? Mm-hmm. Let's look at that in a minute. What else do you have anything else on your questions list?
Overall in the lesson, I think, because this took a little bit longer, because they really had these quite deep conversations, or not, they had deeper conversations or lengthier conversations about the matching than I expected. They didn't get to the piece following that where they would actually have had to do some problems on their own. And they would have had answers and problems, but actually have needed to do the work to see what went together. And so in terms of individually, the information that I have about where they are individually and how they were making sense is really only from the pieces of their conversations that I was able to overhear, or the questions I was able to ask them when I was at their groups. And so in that respect, I don't have as much information as I would like about their individual understanding. So I'm still wondering how well they'll be able to apply these ideas of first steps and what the answer should look like.
I thought about a similar question in terms of closure, and I wondered, so the bell surprised you, slightly shorter day, and
yeah.
Not an issue at all, except that being Friday, wondering what can you do next time you see them that comes close to the wonderful way that you started today. Here's where we were when we were last together. I wondered, were there any things you could do for closure beyond the acknowledging that you did the solid work, the good work, it's going to get you through. When we meet next time, you'll be in a good place. Was there something that you could have done in terms of individual or in terms of summary statement or similar kind of question? What else did you have?
I think by nature, again, this day was really symbolic. And as we were having the conversations in the warm-up and thinking about, what is an x-intercept, I wondered if there were pieces where another representation or seeing something graphically could have been brought in. And I don't know if that's within this context or in a next step. But it's definitely something I'm curious
about. You asked
about.
at the beginning whether or not students would be able to make some generalization statements. Oh, I get it. You use a generic rectangle when. I want to ask, and if we have time, I'd like to look at, did you hear those kinds of statements? If so, what helped bring those to the surface? And if you didn't hear them, what do you think could happen differently so that kids would be asking those, making those generalization statements?
Okay.
Well, that's more than enough.
Do we want to dig into one of those?
Let's do that.